Welcome to Mr. L's Mental Health Corner. I've realized I wanted to stop doing Mr. L's bell because the bell is actually a representation of control and how things start and end, and is mirrored in schools and in prisons. So I don't really want to continue doing Mr. L's bell. I just want it to be Mr. L's Mental Health Corner. In today's conversation, I really want to talk about gardening and the hidden lessons I'm finding out from gardening. And right now, I want to talk specifically about turning your grass into something a little more useful. So I've started to tear up my grass and plant actual food, like seeds. And that's one thing I'm starting to realize is that the dirt that looks like it's all set, like you can use it right now. And I started digging. I'm like, I know I need to plow into this to make sure that whatever's beneath the surface can allow my plants to grow. And while I was digging, you find these giant rocks. These giant rocks, I'm sure my plants will like grow around and destroy and crumble, but that takes time. Making sure you take care of the earth now, digging into it, taking it out by hand, makes it a lot easier. And it started to give me a real understanding of, oh, this is the same way your mind works. Everything may look flat and ready to go on the surface, but the rate of growth is based on how clear the ground is of rocks. And those rocks may be unprocessed events that have happened in your life, certain ways people act or don't act. That's a big one. And one thing I really wanted people to start, one thing I want to pose, a question I want to pose to you is, what are the rocks in your life that are keeping you from growing as fast as you can? What are the things that are in the way that may not be evident on the surface, and you just got to dig a little deeper to find out? And that is really the conversations you have in therapy. And sometimes it's not even therapy, it's just ask yourself, if I was unable to do the things that I value most tomorrow, and I'll give you an example. I'm a sports guy. I love sports. So I always tell myself, okay, what if tomorrow you can't play the sports? God forbid, you cannot do the things that you value the most. Where does your value lie? Is it in your mind? Is it in the things you say? Is it in the things that you do that do not require a physical ability to do so? I've been reading a lot of books about people who are restrained. So Angela Davis, I'm reading a little bit about Angela Davis. I'm reading another book that was just all about a man who became paralyzed from a small accident, and he wrote the book completely paralyzed. And you start realizing, where does this value lie? Where does the value you have for yourself lie? Where is it? Is it only in the things you do for other people? Is it in the things that you do for yourself? Is it the things that you have and you want to show off? Where does your value lie? And I want you to find that and steer towards the things that make you not happy in the terms that everybody else tells you this is how you know you're happy, in the terms that make you feel at peace. And why I say that is because a lot of people are dealing with cognitive dissonance. A lot of things are happening that we don't agree with, but we can't do much about it. But I can tell you this, you can. One thing I've been upset about is how things have been developing. I mean, this is not the first time. That's been a problem for me in particular. It was education and how the system, I called it a big boat, needs a lot of people to steer that boat. And a lot of those people are not really in close contact with the people who are actually learning. I've realized that teaching is an archetypal relationship between people who know and people who don't, and they pass on knowledge. That's all you need to teach. I don't understand what layers of administration, layers of bureaucracy have added to it. You can say safety, organization, great, but you can do that without 500 secretaries. I'm sorry to tell you guys this. I feel weird saying that because I'm not saying that you're not useful. I'm just saying sometimes it hinders progress more than it helps it. So what I did personally, I left the whole school system. I got my license, I got my teaching license to make sure that everyone is aware that I've reached a certain quality. I've shown the credential, I've earned the credentials that everybody uses as a standard for are you qualified. I've played the game that way. I've gone ahead and gotten my actual degree or the badge or the certificates, all the things. I am a licensed special ed teacher. And now I left the system to show you that you can do this without having to steer a giant boat. And now we are watching that giant boat be dismantled little by little. And now it's affecting the special education students that I worked with the closest. And it really disheartens me because I know that those are the kids that need a lot of the support the most. And their freedom, their ability to learn and be cared for is under attack, quite literally. And it makes me upset. And so what I did, I started my own business. I started a tutoring business. And aside from just tutoring, I did coaching. I did therapy, doing ABA therapy. I did mental health therapy with adults. It's not that I did them, I do them. I do them now. And what it really becomes is asking people not to complicate the answers to questions. I want you to beware of people who start answers with "it's complicated." A lot of this shit is not complicated. It is very straightforward. If they start to add different words, complicated words that they have a hard time explaining to you, I would be wary of those people, okay? If they can't explain it to you like you're a 5-year-old, I would be wary of their answer, okay? Use your Richard Feynman method. If you can't explain it to a 5-year-old in the simplest terms, you don't understand it well enough, okay? And that's one thing I always want to do is make these short, easy to understand, easy to digest. And I'm trying my best to do that without selling out and trying to, I'm here to commercialize this. I'm not trying to commercialize this. And I really don't want it to be commercialized because it's an archetypal relationship between people who know and people who don't know. What we're watching is a privatization of the people who know, or they're just saying they know. One example I had that was frustrating was watching a curriculum be used in a school that would ask kids, they'd read a sentence, block the next word, and ask kids to guess what word would be there. And that was a reading program. How am I going to learn to read letters that I cannot see? I mean, that was a popular curriculum, and I was getting very frustrated that was being used. It's like, what? At what point are we vetting how we're teaching things? It really frustrates me to know that happened. So moving forward, I want you to start asking yourself, where is your value? 2, is the system big and is it hindering or helping? Because at a certain point, I'm realizing the larger it is, the more it hinders. So another example, because I live in analogies. Remember banks that were too big to fail? Okay. They didn't fail. Okay, they failed us. They definitely did, and they had to get bailed out. By who? By us. And what's happening now? I mean, let me step down off the soapbox and just ask you guys this question. What is your value? What is it that you value? And what is it that you think is valuable about yourself?